Now on all channels. Let me send out my little message here and we'll get started. So, welcome to Coming Into Being, our space and time for really connecting in most deeply with ourselves, and to really take that time to just center in. And how important that is cannot be stated enough. I, and it's very interesting because we don't really think about it because we just kind of go on day by day, throughout our day. And I want to give you an example of somebody that I met not too long ago, and she is so disconnected from herself that I taught her, kind of walked her through the steps of how to connect spatially with herself. And what I mean by that is sort of what we do at the beginning all the time, but of seeing where you are in your environment and seeing your placement, really feeling that, really having getting a sense of you in your space and time. And she is so far away from herself that she cannot pull back from an object. So I'll give you an example. I'll just walk you through that. So in spatial referencing, what you want to do is take notice of your senses, of your environment through your senses, and then be aware of your body, because this really pulls you back into yourself. So, for example, look at an object that's in front of you, and then have a sense of that object and have a sense of the distance between you and that object. So, you're kind of putting your awareness, you might be looking at that object, but you're um, putting your awareness on the space between you and the object and then yourself. And most people can just kind of pull back, or most people I've met so far, might have a little bit of a little bit of work there to do, but they can pull back and come into themselves. And she is unable to do that. She can, and she literally told me this. She's like, I just have such a hard time pulling back from what I'm looking at. So why is that crucial? Because that means that there is no separation between the self and what's in the environment. And so everything that's in her environment is part of her. She picks up, is influencing her. It's like in her, all around her. She's like swimming in it and can't separate out. And it's caused her a lot of physical distress, and extreme physical distress, and having to do various therapy treatments and all that. And I mean, there's a sense for her that she just doesn't really want to live, even though she's still kind of hanging in there. She's not somebody who's want to go commit suicide that way, but there's this really strong, it's like, I can't live this way, and yet being unable to do that. So I'm sharing this story because just to explain how important it is to really be present in our environment and in the moment. I have to excuse my voice. See if I can take a minute here to just make it sound a little less scratchy. So we're going to work on that. We're going to start, as always, by coming into ourselves. So take a minute, take a nice deep breath in, hold it at the top, hold it some more. Let yourself really, and when you hold your breath, that really brings your attention into, hi, Roya. If I see people show up on the chat, I say hi, but a lot of people tend to just to stay back, which is fine too. When you hold your breath, it makes you really kind of concentrate on what you're doing. Yeah. So let's take another nice deep breath in and hold it at the top, and see if you can hold it a little bit longer than you're inclined to hold it. And then exhale it out. And then as you exhale out, you'll notice that you just kind of start coming into a slower rhythm, kind of you're more slower pace. You kind of slow down and you kind of get into a deeper state. So let's do that again. Taking a nice deep breath in, feeling as you breathe in, feeling yourself just pulling all those frequencies up from the earth into your body and through your body, filling your body up, holding it at the top, and then releasing out, releasing everything that you don't need anymore. Okay, so let's go into that spatial referencing, that little story that I talked about earlier, this person. So pick an object around you, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It could even be the wall, the ceiling, the floor, rug, and just notice that object. As you're looking at that object, kind of shift from the object to that space between you and the object. And kind of as if you're measuring, just intuitively measuring that space, having a sense of that distance. And and then coming in and feeling a part of your body. It could be your neck, your ears, the tip of your nose, your eyelashes, and really becoming aware of that body part. Even as you're looking at that object, but your awareness is really present and aware of your body part. Now, if you have a problem pulling back from that object, gotta ask yourself, why is that? Because that is not a natural state to be in. It's not a healthy state to be in. I think what happens is with a lot of empaths have a tendency. So we have like our little beings, and we have our auric fields, and empaths have an auric field that's very expanded out and pick up all this information around them. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The only problem that can come up with that is when you can't differentiate and separate yourself out from what is in your environment. Because even if you're expanded out, even if you're just in your energetic field, arm's length out, whatever's in there you should have a sense. Okay, this cup here is not me. Yes, yes, Roy says yes, right. And so it's really important to start differentiating that for everybody, especially for empaths, but for everybody. It's important to do that because there's going to be moments when all of us kind of get taken in by the moment. Maybe there's something very emotional that just happened, and just this, and then we get taken in by the emotions, and that's all right, but really staying present and clear with ourselves. So again, let's do that again. So look at an object, you know, and take a minute to just look at the object. Take a few seconds, like I'm looking at a chair that's on the other side of the room there, and the shape of the chair, what the color, whatever. And now, as you're looking at that chair, have a sense of that space between you and that object. Kind of like you're having a sense of that distance. And then come in and staying, still looking at whatever you're looking at, coming to that awareness of, let's say, your chin, and feel your chin. Notice your chin. Hey, Mary, you made it. Somebody who's been having a hard time joining for some reason. Good to see you. So really, really, so let's do that again. Pick an object, pick it in a different direction. If you've been looking ahead of you, pick to the side, or above. Look at the object. have a sense that distance between you and the sender request to be in your live video. I think you're fine, yeah. So, Mary, so have a sense of that object, have a sense of that space between you and the object. And then as you're looking at that object, be aware of your knees. So Mary, you're fine as you are. You don't need to join in the live. You're exactly where you need to be. So that's good. We're good. Um, and notice how when you do that, you kind of slow down. Slow down because we get out of our heads. We get more fully present. And it's good to do that with all your senses because we are living in a physical life, and that's how we interact with physical life is through our senses. So take a notice at, take a moment to notice what you're smelling. For some people, it's really sharp. For some people, I have to pay attention a little bit more closely to that, to smell, and just like, what does it smell like, your environment? Does it smell dusty? Does it smell humid? Does it smell, maybe moldy if it's a very humid environment? Does it have that new car smell? There's particular smells for all that. So just notice what you're smelling. Maybe have a sense of where that smell is coming from. And then notice a body part. It could be your fingernails. There we have it. Do with taste also. This is usually we do with sight, we do with sound. Smell and taste kind of are not paid attention to as much. Saffron, I'm cooking. Oh, I love that. So notice the taste in your mouth. I had an interesting experience the other day, and I could, in doing that, I all of a sudden tasted dusty like cement. It was really interesting, but it was something non-physical that I was picking up on actually. So you get a lot of information that comes in through taste if we pay attention to all those senses. So notice what you're tasting in your mouth. Could be the mint that I just had, for example, for me. And then pay attention to your body part, lower back or your elbows. Body part doesn't matter, just as long as it's your body part that you're paying attention to. So you might take a moment, sometimes just to go faster, is to just start noticing, uh, being aware of my environment and just being aware of my body as I'm just noticing the sounds and the sights, the light coming in through my eyes, the sounds coming in from outside. But I'm paying attention to maybe my nose, my cheeks, my chest, my elbows. And really, it kind of makes me pull in. It's somebody who is a very well-known intuitive, and she had a thing she would say is, one body, one person. Really coming into your own body. Okay. So notice how that just slows you down, brings you in the moment, helps you become just a little bit more relaxed, more present. If we're more relaxed, more present, we won't get skewed on what we need to do for ourselves. So coming into your breath and noticing your breath. You know, when you find yourself in a little bit of an anxiety because something's come up that throws you off balance, notice your breath. Let yourself focus in on your breath. The breath coming in, noticing your chest expanding, breathing out, your chest collapsing, in, out. Focusing on that breath, focusing on your breathing as you're aware of your environment, the light, the sounds, the smells, the taste. There's also the touch, so like your clothes on your skin, your hair on your skin, maybe your hands on your jeans or something you're holding in your hands. So allowing yourself to come into that breath and just be in that breath. It's wonderful holding that space for us to create that mastermind in our own powers. Yes, thank you. That's exactly what we're here for. So, Mary, you keep send me a request, but just type in a message to say that you are getting this because I did see a little message from you earlier. So, as far as I know, you're on there, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to get into the live video, otherwise it pulls you up into the into the screen. So keep focusing on your breath, slowing yourself down, feeling your breath, focusing on your lower ribs. You can put your hands at the sides of your ribs, at the bottom of your ribs, and as you breathe in, feel yourself pushing against your hands there. What that does is that will really bring you further down, deepen your breath as you focus in on expanding and contracting the breath and breathing fully into your whole lungs. Because a lot of times when we're stressed, we're usually just breathing in like right here at the top of our lungs. And as we breathe more deeply, it helps to slow us down. I am listening to you. Okay, so you're fine. Then we'll just ignore that video request, but you don't need to be on live. You can just join in by listening. That's the way to go. Okay, so as you're focusing on your breath, let's go a little bit deeper. Now, so you're noticing your breath, and let's come into the back of the neck. So you're kind of paying attention to two things: your breath, just being aware of that movement, and the back of your neck. You're kind of noticing the vertebrae, the spine. And really kind of coming in. There can be a lot of stuff on people's necks. A lot of There's a lot of control issues that come up with the neck, around the neck, that'll show up around the neck. So frequencies of control or people or situations that can control you can show up there. So really just feeling your neck, and if you want to touch your neck too, you can, just to really emphasize the physical layer. Sometimes what happens to me is I feel things so closely to me that it feels like it's hard to separate out to get a sense of like, okay, there's this thing here, and then there's my skin below that. And so it can be really helpful to just touch your skin to emphasize that. And like create that separation between what's you and what's not you. Keep focusing on that neck, keep being aware of your breath. Okay, there's a sense that that's kind of giving at least some of you kind of a sense of it's almost like a sense of empowerment, I would say. So that's good because that coming into yourself, that's what that is. Empowering yourself to be really fully in yourself, really fully connected. Ah, so we're gonna keep focusing on that because we're gonna shift out some more, create more of a separation for you between you and what. There we go. So that's one layer of separation. So that's good. And see how that feels. That should feel a little lighter, a little bit more at ease. And when we clear out, when we separate out and really come into ourselves more, then it's easier to be even more fully present and more relaxed. So just notice how that feels for yourself now. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath in all the way from the core of the earth, all the way up through your body, pulling out that new frequencies, new energies. Hold it at the top. Hold it for as long as you can. And then release it out when you're ready. And then bring your awareness down to your lower back, like kind of hips on down. So there's the sacrum. I was going to say sternum, but I know that wasn't the words. The sacrum, the tailbone, even the lumbar vertebrae. Just feel like the small of the back and down from that. Just bring your awareness into that as you notice, as you feel your breathing. Yeah, there's some emotional stuff that's coming up for some people, so that's fine. Just keep breathing into that. Keep focusing on your your body, being aware of your breath, letting the emotion come through. That's fine. That's just releasing. There's a variety of emotions that's coming through. It's kind of first sadness, but then there was, I think, anger, betrayal coming through, and likely some other stuff. Yeah, there's deeper, a lot of it. Wow, we're hitting a hot spot here. A lot of entanglement down in that area with other people. So keep focusing on that area. So lower, like the small of the back on down, and being aware of your breath. And let's see if we can shift some of that entanglement. That gets really convoluted. This is like a can of worms, guys. So we'll shift. We'll get some separation here. Might not be as much as you need, but it will get started for you. So that's all right. Yeah, there we go. Lot yeah, there's a lot that is coming up for at least some of you. Just clearing that space out goes back to family dynamics that have, but also like intimate relationship, but all that's connecting up into family dynamics. So there we go. So nice, a nice separation out for people. That's good. So keep just breathing in that area just a little bit longer, focusing on your breath and your awareness in that lower spine area. Yeah. All right, let's take another nice deep breath in. Yeah, sometimes release stuff and it can have really interesting impact because it feels it feels good. It would feel lighter, but all of a sudden there's kind of like this drop. Um, and it's almost kind of like a little depression kind of feeling because we've been holding on to something for so long, or it's been part of us for so long that we've created a sense of ourselves relative to this thing. And then when we let it go, it's sort of like, oh, we're, it's a really interesting thing because it's like we lose this little bit of a sense of ourselves because all of a sudden what we are used to having seen ourselves as all of a sudden shifts and it's like, whoa, who am I? Kind of feeling. I don't know who I am. And it can be a little scary. So take a deep breath into that if you have if that's coming up for you because it kind of came through. So not necessarily everybody, but kind of came through there. And just stay present with wherever it is, wherever you're at. Yeah, just allowing so what we're doing here is just allowing that space for that reorientation of yourself to realign with the new with where you're at because sometimes there's a tendency it's like "Oh, I just lost something, I got to go after it and grab it, and you don't want to do that. You just want to kind of chill, just notice that, just kind of like, oh well, just kind of breathe into that, let yourself reorient, and there we go. That should feel better now. Yeah. Okay, everybody feels a little bit lighter, so really good. Really, really easily done. So it's very simple. We haven't done very much here. Really, it's not like we've gone through this whole like big intricate process to get into deeper state and journey through here and there, which is all those are fine explorations too, and those can be quite fun. I've done those too. But it's really simple of just connecting in with ourselves. If you ever feel like this moment where you just feel alone or lonely and you don't like where you're at, or you feel anxious, or you feel stressed out, or angry, or frustrated, whatever it is, taking that moment with wherever you're at to just connect in with yourself. Don't excuse me, don't come don't from that place, don't of anxious, depressed, angry, frustrated, don't let yourself from that place reach out for something, because what you're doing is that you're reaching out to not feel what you're feeling. And if you're reaching out for a person or anything or something to do, that's like putting a layer on top of what you're feeling. So you're burying it on top of you're burying it deeper. If you're reaching for a person to take care of that, not feel what you're feeling, you're putting that burden on the other person to carry the weight, energetic and frequency weight of that for you, because you're basically saying, I can't handle this. Carry it for me. So if the person is smart enough, they won't do it. And smart enough in the sense of that if they have enough sense of themselves, they won't do it. And for you, it's not going to take care of the problem. You're still going to have that frustration, that anxiety, that depression, whatever it is that's there. That's only going to get taken care of for 1 second. You won't feel it. And then it's back again. And it's back again and worse, because you've just doubled the amount that you have. Maybe double isn't quite the right amount, but basically you've increased the amount of what it is. So if you have an emptiness inside and you reach out for somebody else or something else, even it doesn't have to be a person, but and to fill that inside, you ignore you're actually increasing the amount that you have. And so it's a perpetuating circle. So instead, cycle. Instead, let yourself just kind of surrender. It's not fun feeling a lot of this stuff, but just take a deep breath in and let yourself go through. Sometimes it just gets so wound up that we're just like, taking a piece of paper and just like scribbling away on it madly. I've done that before to help release that, to surrender to that, to let that come through, connecting in with our ourselves and connecting in with your physical body and becoming aware of yourself in your physical environment in the now. Because when we do that, we disconnect from the 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 origin of that feeling, because it's never really what's going on in the present moment. When we're really fully present in the moment and you have emotions like that come up, it's based on something in the past. It's based on something that your psyche has been kind of just pushing back, and holding back, and then it gets triggered because there's something in the current situation that's triggering it back in place for you and kicking in that emotion. So that's why it's really important with the emotions to just let ourselves kind of feel it, not respond from that, not do anything in that moment when we're responding to that. Hey, Erica, and let it come through, not hold it in, let it come through. So that's why I find like taking a piece of paper and like I have done that before, just to release it, because it's just like this buildup that's coming through, and then being really present, relaxing, and coming back into ourselves, and just like, and then you can kind of see the current situation that's ahead in front of you, and not reacting from somewhere else. Okay, let's take another deep breath in here, filling yourself up completely, holding that breath, or on the next breath, if you've already exhaled, holding that breath, feeling yourself just expanding that moment as you hold the breath, and then release when you need to. You're ready. Letting yourself feel that lightness of just being in this moment, just here, just now, with yourself. Again, as you notice your breathing, becoming aware of your breath, that movement of your body. So, becoming aware of that particular area of the breath and that impact on the body. And so, the movement of the body. So, becoming aware of your body in that area, letting yourself become aware of the light, the sounds, maybe the smell, the taste. And everybody feels a bit lighter and a bit more positive here. Positive in that lightness of being, you know? Very nice. Okay, Mary, I'm so glad you were able to join in. That's fantastic. Just having a bit of an issue before joining in on Instagram here. If there's any questions or any comments, not just questions, but anything you want to share at this, please feel free to. I tend to have very quiet groups, which is fine. Which is fine. I think that's, it's I tend to be that way with myself when I'm in groups, is tend to hold back when everybody's just chat away. So that's all right. We need all kinds of people. If everybody was always chatting, if everybody was chatting all the time, there'd be nobody to listen. Would be there to listen. So we need it all. Okay, well, sorry, I was cooking. That's okay. You're cooking and listening. Yeah, that's happened before. But that's fun. I've done that too. But when I'm listening into other, people that I listen to when I'm doing stuff. So that's fine too. You did wonderful. Well, thank you. So did you. So did you. When you were cooking, you were doing cooking as well as. So that's kind of cool because it's as we're doing things, our presence comes into what we're doing, everything we're doing. So when we are more present with ourselves, we have more of that presence that goes into what we're doing. So cooking here for Roya, I think that's fun. So whoever's going to eat that food is going to have the impact of more of that presence and that singularity of being. Feeding time, yes. Yes, that's about that time in Spain, isn't it? And whether you're cooking, whether you're doing, art, whether you're whatever it is you're doing, coming to that state of being, and that whole presence goes into what you're doing, and then whoever picks up on that, looks at that or tastes that food or whatever, will have that. Um, it's like somebody I studied with a long time ago, Rosalind Briere, very, she's one of the top, is very, very well versed. Um, she said, if you look at uh, a diabetic cat, thanks, Mary, for a great word. Oh, yes, that's right. It's the kitties. I'm glad you could stop in. But, anyways, um, if you take like anything like medicine, or like a pill, or for whatever, a supplement, whatever. Okay, you go back to when that supplement was created. There's this intelligence of the person that brought that together, who had that concept. And you have got so good supplements so out there. So somebody with the coming in with that level of intelligence, that level of kind of consciousness of like creating this great product and this great thing, and goes into what they're making. Well, then you have to you kind of send it out to your friends and here, like test out, this seems to be really working out with the people I'm working trying it on. So you try it out. So it goes out. So it's removed a step from that original source. And then further down the line and down the line, it keeps getting more and more removed. Now the intelligence is still there in the product, but you said what's good to do is to just when you take something is to have that awareness and that acknowledgement of the source of where that comes from. So there's two things behind that. One is to act to kind of not activate because it's always activated, but bring it to the forefront, that intelligence. So to emphasize that. The other thing that this points to is that you really want to be taking products and supplements that are from good sources. Yeah, thanks, Roya. Thanks for stopping by, and have a wonderful saffron dish. And so just be aware of that. And it's like so that coming into that own presence, that own deep alignment with ourselves, whatever we're doing, we put in what we're doing. And the more the pure that presence, the pure that product or that painting or that dish, and that spreads it out that way. So you look great, Marianne. Beautiful frequencies. Oh, good. I think I saw you on the call earlier too. So yes, that was by the way, speaking of beautiful frequencies. Um, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's good to know I'm glowing. And so is everybody else on the call. So okay. Well, I think we're gonna call it a day. We'll be back next Wednesday as always. So thanks for stopping in, and wherever you are, take care and have a good rest of your day, whatever's left of it for you. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.